Good morning, everybody. I'm so pleased that you could join me today on this interview series, The Art of You, Refining Your Life and Business interview series. Today we have with us Kerry Belviso, who is a kinesiologist, a course creator and a coach. And she's currently working in Melbourne. And with this interview series, the reason and the idea behind it is to utilize the ideas and insights of small business owners to encourage and inspire other solopreneurs and business owners who are starting out in their business or in the first to second year of their business. In this whole interview series, we will be providing you with small, tiny gold nuggets, tips, tools, and resources that you can use in your business immediately, today, and see results as well. Kerry, I've just been on your wonderful, beautiful website, and I must say that the calm, peaceful atmosphere just looks amazing. It really and truly does.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into kinesiology.
Sure. So, as you mentioned, I'm a kinesiologist based in Melbourne, in Australia. And so I got into kinesiology a few years ago now. I'd come back from being overseas for quite a few years, and I was just having a little bit of trouble settling. And so I realized that I had, a relationship I was happy in. I was with the man who's now my husband, and I had a job that was good. I was a teacher at that time, and I was at a great school. So I had lots of different areas in my life that were really going quite well. But I knew that I really still wasn't quite happy, and I didn't understand why. And so I changed all of the outside things. So I knew that the only place to go really was within. So I started to look into different things that might be able to help me to do that. And one of the things I did was go along for a kinesiology appointment. And so, like many of my clients, I had never heard of kinesiology and didn't really know what it was. I just picked up a flyer and thought, that sounds interesting. And I went along for my session, and I was just immediately amazed that the way this kinesiologist, without knowing, anything really about me, she was able to muscle test my body and find out different emotions I was feeling, different situations and times in my life that had been really significant, and to be able to diffuse the stress around those things. So I continued to go along and see this girl. And a few months after that, I'd had recurring depression that came and went over a very long period of time, about 14 years actually. And it had kind of come to a head again. And I'd actually been to a doctor, and the doctor had said, look, this is just going to be this way. You are actually going to need to go into antidepressants. You've done everything that you can do. There's nothing really more you can do. So as it happened, I took the script with me, and I had an appointment with my kinesiologist the next day, and I told her this, and she just said, well, would you like us to work on it? And I just thought, what's the point? There's no point in us worrying about it, because the doctor has told me that I have to take these antidepressants, and that's what I'm going to do because I've had enough. And anyway, we did work on it, and with a session that week, and then we had one other session, we were able to completely clear the depression, and it just went, and that was 6 or 7 years ago now, and it just hasn't come back. And that really blew me away, because I just thought this was something I was going to have to manage for the rest of my life. And it was after that I decided I really wanted to look into this and study it myself. And in fact, it was something that came up in a kinesiology session. It came up that I was bored at work. And I just remember saying to her, because I was a teacher, right, and I was very busy, and I remember saying, I am not bored. I am so busy. But of course, there's a difference between being busy and being actually engaged and excited and inspired. So that was how I got into it. And I've now been practicing. It took me 3 years to study it. It was a very intense study, every second weekend for the 3 years. And now I've been practicing for the past 4 years. I've got beautiful, amazing clients booked out several weeks ahead, and just really love it.
Oh, that sounds absolutely fantastic. And you sound really passionate about what you do.
Once I got into the study itself, it just fit me so perfectly. It's a mix of personal development and energy healing and health and psychology and Chinese medicine. It's just this really beautiful blend of kind of Eastern and Western that was able to mix together and help people to create amazing change. And still today, I've had some new clients last week who said to me, Kerry, it's like magic. And that's that's kind of what it's like. It's nice to be able to work with magic.
Well, Kerry, I think I need to come to you then, because I need a little bit of magic happening here as well.
We all need a little bit of magic.
We've been speaking about your clients. You've mentioned the magic that your clients actually feel when they work with you. Who is your ideal client? What type of people do you work with?
It has evolved over the past few years. So when I started, because of my background, like I attracted obviously a lot of people who were like that. So women predominantly who are maybe 25 to 30 who were feeling a bit stuck, anxious, blocked, depressed, and who were wanting to make changes in their lives. So I still do attract some of those clients as well. These days I attract quite a lot of high achievers, perfectionists, again, still women who are really successful on the outside, but there's just something that's not quite gelling for them, and like an area of their life they're just not happy in, or they just feel stuck, or maybe they are feeling like they're really successful but they're really worried they're going to sabotage themselves, or they're just going through like a really difficult time in their lives and they want some help to shift that along. And I work these days as well with a lot of entrepreneurs as well who I guess there's that quote, isn't there? The only thing standing between greatness and me is me. So
that's a good quote.
To clear the internal blocks that are preventing them from being as successful as they know they can be.
What is your biggest fear and your biggest challenge that you've had currently in your business?
I think at the start, certainly it's just you're wondering, can I actually make this work? Like, I love to do this, but can I actually turn this into a viable business that is going to make me enough money to make it sustainable? Like, I think that was absolutely a really big fear early on. And in more recent times, I don't know if it's necessarily a fear, but it's a challenge, is managing my energy levels. Because there's only a certain number of clients I'm able to work with in a week, and it's just managing that, and also managing the other things I want to be able to do to be able to grow my business, so I'm not just working one-on-one with clients.
If you're not working one-on-one with them, do you have any group programs that you run as well?
Not at the moment, so that's probably what I would be looking to develop into the future.
That sounds absolutely super. Now, when you said that these fears and challenges, you've obviously managed to break past them as well. Do you use kinesiology on yourself to be able to do that?
So with will I be able, like the fears, will I be able to turn this into a business? Will I be able to attract enough clients and those kind of things early on? One of the things I certainly did was I was having kinesiology sessions myself, like I was seeing a kinesiologist, and I also did a lot of self-kinesiology. I've got a little a self-alignment kit which I sell on my website, and that's got an alignment process. So that's a process that I developed which can help you to basically clear your fears and find out what it is that's blocking you from achieving certain goals. So I use that kind of process, and then in more recent times with my energy levels and boundaries and those kinds of things, I've had to be just extremely vigilant on self-care. So I have a really high level of self-care. Normally I would have, it sounds like quite a lot, I think, but I would normally have a session each week with another practitioner, whether it's a naturopath, an acupuncturist, or a massage therapist, whatever it is, just to make sure I'm really giving back to myself and looking after my energy, and just constantly with boundaries and just making sure, I'm saying yes and being able to say no to things, because I think sometimes as entrepreneurs we can get caught up thinking we need to say yes to everything that comes our way, but it's that being able to discern, like, is this the best use of my time and my energy? I heard this from Michelle McGrath, whose website is sacredself.com.au. She makes these beautiful oils which I use with my clients, but the quote is, sometimes saying no to others is a yes to myself.
That is awesome. If you had to do this all over again, what is one thing that you would do differently?
Remember that being in business is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And so sometimes we can get into, especially early on, we can kind of get into that pushing phase, and we just think, I'll just push through this and I'll just push through that, and we can end up spending quite a bit of our time being quite adrenal. And I think we sort of think, oh, that's just the way it needs to be. And I'm just, just going to just get to the next bit and then I'll be able to relax. But I think what I learned was that might be true, but what you might also be creating is burnout. And if you burn out when you are in business for yourself, it's just not pleasant. And I have experienced, getting to that degree where it would be getting close to burnout, where you need to pull right back, and that's stressful. So I think it's much better just to manage your energy levels in a more sustainable way as you go along. Just realize, if I can't take every opportunity, that's okay. Other opportunities will always come along.
Obviously, you're online, but you also have an offline part of your business. How do you go about promoting yourself?
Sure. So, I guess really the majority of my business is offline. So when I see clients, I've got premises in a city that I rent, and I've got premises in Albert Park that I rent. So, we'll certainly work with people face to face. But the promotion of my business has predominantly been online. So the main things that I have done, I pretty early on realized if I write a blog post every week, my business is full. And then I decided middle of this year, I wanted to just develop my writing a little bit more. And I started writing 2 blog posts a week, and now I'm booked out several weeks ahead. So for me, that's just been the number one thing. Facebook has been good for me as well.
Yes.
So I'm not outrageously active on Facebook, but I'll try and post things, each day. Most days anyway. And I've found that it's been quite good as well. But I don't think about it as a promotional tool. I think about it as a connecting tool. And it obviously does work as a promotional tool as well.
Yes, definitely. And with that being said, I think that more people are using social media these days to go and find out about businesses and about people, because when they can start seeing what type of lifestyle you have, what you're about, the things that you love to do as well, there's sort of a connection between you and them.
Right. They can get a little bit of a bigger picture, by you sharing, whether it's different quotes that you like or different images, or like you say, even just people love it when you share personal things about your life and what you're doing, or just a photo from a trip you've taken, or kind of just having that bit more of a 3-dimensional life. It's not just you as the business.
Yeah, that's true.
And I suppose the other thing, obviously, that I should mention that's quite important is having a newsletter. So, and I used to be really sporadic. I just send a newsletter whenever I felt like it, which might be every 3 months or every couple of weeks. It just varied. But I realized that it might be better to tighten that up. So now I send my newsletter every 2 weeks.
So there's a lot of consistency there. You've mentioned that when you blog, you started out blogging once a week, and then you turned it into twice a week. You also mentioned that you're on Facebook daily, at least once or twice a day, and that you send out your newsletter fortnightly. It's really consistent. Would you say that consistency is the key to be able to manage your business?
Absolutely. I think you can be more sporadic, but it is just better to develop a routine. It doesn't need to be that routine. I'm very much not about following shoulds. I'm about feeling into what feels good for you. And lots of people say, for example, that you should send a newsletter weekly. Now, I tried that. It is too much for me. If I was to cut back the number of clients I see, maybe I could manage that. But I felt into it. And I thought, I don't feel like that's right for me right now. Even though I said I write a blog post twice a week, that's because I really felt like I wanted to. Like if I was just doing that because I thought I should, I don't think that's a good reason to do it. And so for other people, you might, for you and your industry, writing a fortnightly blog post may well be enough. But the thing I like about writing on your blog, it just creates that dynamic content, obviously, for people who are visiting your website. Gives you content that you're sharing on your social media and content that you can be sharing in your newsletter. So it all kind of intersects.
Yeah, sort of like a little bit of education, a little bit of information, a little bit of them connecting. So your online journal, if I could say that, basically.
Right. And for me, my blog is often a lot about the themes and things that are coming up for my clients. So I will just try and distill that into lessons or into insights So often it's coming directly from the people I'm seeing. So if, depending on the type of business that you have, if you're able to do that, obviously that's then attracting more of the people you like working with. That helps you to attract more of those same kind of people, because people obviously read and they think, I want that as well, or I've got that same issue as well. And so they then, are attracted to come and work with you.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think my blog's been effective in attracting clients.
Now, when in your business, you obviously, you work online, you use Facebook as a tool and resource, you use your website quite a bit as well. What is the number one resource that you could just not do without in your business right now? Something at you.
Oh, that's a good question. I guess my blog.
Your blog.
Yeah, that if I had to give up everything else, but I could still keep the blog, like that would be the number one thing for me.
That sounds awesome. Now, Kerry, we've touched on quite a bit, and you've given us quite a bit of insight as to how your business works and who your ideal client is. Also, the fears that most solopreneurs do experience. And you mentioned that through your coaching and your kinesiology, you're able to help them break through those fears and to be able to achieve whatever it is that is the hiccup in their lives, to move past it and to create a better life for themselves, tapping into the potential, as you say, of each individual. If anybody who is watching this video right now wanted to connect with you in any way, where could they connect with you?
So my website is kerrybelviso.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Awaken Kinesiology. I'm on Twitter as well, at Kerry Belviso. I'm also on Pinterest and on Instagram at Kerry Belviso as well.
If there was anything in closing that you wanted to say to somebody watching this who is struggling right now in their business, one word of advice, a bit of inspiration, what would you share with them?
If you are stuck in those fears, you can actually move through them. And I think just starting from that starting point of thinking, I know I can break through this. I wonder how I'm going to do that. And actually start looking for things. So if there is a kinesiologist in your area, go and try kinesiology. It's great for entrepreneurs. It just really quickly can move you through, move through your blocks so you can just get on with doing what it is that you're meant to do.
That's awesome, Kerry. Thank you so much for being on this program. We really appreciate the little insights that you have provided with us, and the golden nuggets. I'm sure that anybody listening or watching this today can take something away from this and put it to good use in their business. And, thank you for extending the time for this interview. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Brenda. It's just been a pleasure to talk to you.
And this is Brenda Tsiaousis, business and life strategist. Thank you so much for watching. And if you'd like to get hold of Kerry, I'll be posting the links below this video as well. Please free to connect with you. As you hear, she is able to help you break through all your blockages, help you to create a spectacular life and tap into the potential that you have as well, and to help you move forward in your life. Thank you so much, and just have a fabulous day.